Yeah.
Now, you said you wanted to start on me. I'm going to turn that down.
Getting a little warm.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah, actually, Dad, I need you to sit down for a second.
just chill, dude.
Go to this angle, Bacon. And we'll start right there, and then I'll move it. Did you go live on Zyte?
Am now.
On the app?
I clicked Ask Haley.
That's fine.
You guys should be there.
I just got the notification.
Tell me when.
You're live.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Legendary Lives. I guess I got to start off by saying thank you to everyone who tuned in last week. Holy cow. Thousands of views on this, and which tells us we found something that you guys like and that you want to see us continue. And I can tell you right now that this is maybe one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. I love building raised hunting, and I love building educational videos and stuff like that. But allowing you guys to tell your story, and that's what Legendary Lives are all about, is it doesn't have to be a legendary deer. Every story has got something in it that's going to mean the world to you, and it's probably going to mean a lot to other people who do the same types of things you do, like hunting. So anyhow, we got another special guest tonight, and he's got a very cool deer with him. But before we get there, so as this thing is progressing and people are seeing what's going on, we got a couple new tricks for you. So one of the things that we keep stressing to everyone, we are streaming live tonight on Facebook and also on the Raised Outdoors app. For those people that are already members of the Raised Outdoors app, we are going to start a monthly giveaway. And that monthly giveaway this month is going to include the Lowdown Viewer. So if you've been looking for one of those viewers that you can use to go check your trail cameras, and I tell you right now, with a 9-inch screen, you can see 8 pictures at once. You can go through your camera card really quick. So if you're the guy going to a stand, then going to climb in your tree immediately, you want some way to look at it, and we've stuck them in 5Ds. We've done everything, and this is a better way to do it. So the Lowdown Viewer is going to one of our members. We're going to do the drawing for this month on January 28th. January 28th, it will be the drawing during the Legendary Lives. And the reason we're doing that, because we got to make sure everyone understands, we're going to be skipping a week. We actually are going to be visiting everyone in Pennsylvania at the Harrisburg, how do I say that? Great American Outdoor Sporting Show, I believe is what it is. So if you live on the East Coast, we hope we're going to see you there. But for all the Raised Outdoors members, no, you guys are into this. And if you haven't joined yet, you can join now, and you'll still have a chance to get in for this drawing. But then we've got some other stuff tonight that we're going to be giving away for you guys tuning in. So just thank you, and we'll do that here in a little bit. But the next thing that I want to do, and probably what everyone is looking for, wait a minute though. One thing about it, in order to have more chances to win this stuff, and I got two things and I'm blocking it so you can't see what that is. We're going to give away the book, and we're also going to give away whatever NAP has given us. But if you share the event right now, if you just share it, then that's going to give you an extra chance to win. So make sure you share the event. But anyhow, without further ado, because I feel like I've been talking a lot, which my family says I do a whole bunch, and the gentleman that we're getting ready to introduce you to is sitting across from me. He's laughing at me. We're going to go ahead and introduce everyone to ours, and we'll talk a little bit more about how we're friends on. But Ryan Bryson, welcome, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, David.
Great to see you.
You too.
And great deer. We'll get there in just a minute. I'll let you introduce the deer. But I just want to thank you for coming, and we appreciate you coming here to tell the story, because I've already heard a little bit of it, not the whole thing, and I try not to get too deep, but there's a pretty cool story behind this.
It's a pretty exceptional story, actually. So
very cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, where do you want to start then?
So we first, me and a couple buddies, real close friends of mine, we hunt together, and we first got trail camera pictures of this deer. I think it was in 2014.
2014.
As a very...
Now that's here in Iowa, right?
Yeah, here in Iowa, southwest Iowa.
Now, you want to tell everyone where exactly that's at?
Down
Probably not.
within a flying radius of where you guys are
So
at.
everyone know where Des Moines is?
Yep.
Okay, it's nowhere near there.
Yeah. Yeah. Somewhere between Nebraska and Illinois,
There
North
you go.
Missouri.
There you
yeah.
go.
So we first started getting some early velvet. I think it was August, September pictures of this deer. He had just a really funky rack to him. We couldn't figure out if he was injured or if he was just going to turn into a non-typical giant. And then as trail camera pictures started progressing, we started to notice that he had been injured, either shot the previous season or hit by a car. His back right knee was actually almost like a peg leg. It was just, he couldn't move his knee at all. So we figured that was just the par for the course of what that was, and it was a deer we didn't really want to shoot. We noticed he might have some growth potential. See if he came back the next year because he was already developing a pretty good rack on the right side.
And with what, I mean, in this, what, I don't know if we've gone to where they can see the deer yet or not.
Okay.
Yep, they can.
But, okay, so what you're saying is this right side was already this way even when he was
Yeah,
younger.
so I mean, the right side, he had actually, he was like he was missing didn't quite have his G4 yet, or G5 yet. So we knew we had a chance at a pretty good deer and going forward. So we decided to pass him. Obviously, I mean, he was only like a 3.5-year-old deer at the time.
Right.
We tried to practice management best we can. So we decided a deer wasn't going to shoot, which didn't matter anyways. I don't think we saw him at all during the 2014 season.
Isn't that how a lot, I mean, it's funny, we all do it, and we're
Yeah.
sitting here talking about a lowdown,
Yep.
viewer, but those trail cameras at the beginning of summer, and I think you probably do the same thing
Yep.
we do, you're like, oh, look, I got this deer, and I got this deer, and I got this deer.
It drives
and I
you
got this
crazy.
deer. Yeah, well, it drives you crazy, but it also all of a sudden you're thinking, well, I won't shoot this one because I'm going to shoot this one.
Yep.
And because every time we lay down and we have that dream is always the perfect 35-degree day, wind's not blowing, no people on the place next to you have already killed him.
Yep. Yep.
Nothing goes wrong. So, yeah. So anyhow, I get it though.
Yeah.
You think you're going to pass him, and then you didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
You didn't get a chance.
Yeah, he disappeared on us, and then come about 2015 season, his right side had exploded to what that shed is now.
So this is
or not shed, it broke off.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's just a chunk.
Yeah.
Which camera are we on, fellas? So I can.
matter.
It doesn't matter. Okay, so
So
here's the piece. Look at this thing, man. Is that not like the coolest? I mean, it's just so different.
So there's actually another follow-up story behind that, but he just kind of exploded into that, and his left side was never really, it still hadn't grown at all.
Right.
Going into 2015 season. I mean, it didn't have the small, it had a little bit of small drop tine to it. The other times weren't quite formed yet. So, and going into 2015 season, like I said, we started getting some good velvet pictures of him again. He just started becoming more of a regular. So we thought, okay, well, this deer's going to start calling, our farm home, and we'd probably have a good shot at him. Going through the 2015 season, most of bow season, we didn't see him a lot at all. And all of a sudden, me and a couple friends that we all hunt the same farm together, we started scrolling through Facebook, and we saw some Facebook personalities that hunt quite a bit. We knew they hunted our area, and they had posted a clip of the deer and a still frame shot, and them getting ready to take a shot at him. So we were immediately kind of nervous about, did this deer get killed?
Now other people know about it.
Yeah. We knew he was starting to become a little more well-known deer. And follow
Now,
up.
had you named him yet?
We named him Wicked during the 2014 season.
So this is Wicked
Yep.
because, I mean, it fits him. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
This is just Wicked.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's the result. And I'm a firm believer when a deer injures one of their back legs, it does affect their antler growth.
And I was going to talk to you. I thought let's get through the hunt, but there's
Yeah.
several things here, because I think viewers are going to want to know, and I want to know. Did you guys see this deer ever following does? Was he acting like a normal buck, or?
So going through the 3 years we got to hunt him, initially thinking he was a 3.5-year-old, to up when I harvested him when we think he was 6.5 years old. This deer was the most shy deer that I've probably ever seen for that age class of deer. He typically hung out with like 2.5 to 1.5-year-old bucks. He avoided the more mature deer on all the farms. I think he participated in some rutting activity. He was probably on the younger does. Probably wasn't breeding
So
with
he
the mature
wasn't
does.
like fighting with the big boys.
No, I think he knew he was injured. He knew he was handicapped.
I know. I mean, I have a son that similar. Like
Yep.
he's always hung out with the grade school kids.
Yeah.
And like bullied them around and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I didn't say that was Warren. And it couldn't be Easton possibly. But no, I mean, but if you kind of think about it in those terms, that's what you're talking about. And I think that's a key point here on a deer like this is when they're injured like that, do they have some inferior characteristics about them,
Yeah.
and it sounds like he did.
Yeah, and it leads up to the one that I finally harvested him. It proved it, but yeah, I think he did most definitely. I mean, we had a couple other mature bucks on the farm during the 2015-2016 season that we'd see a lot of rutting activity with,
Right.
and this deer was just never seemed to be chasing those like what we'd see other deer with. So going forward through 2015 season. Caden, one of my real good
Yep.
friends, he had him, and this was a deer going into 2015, we decided we were going to actively hunt because from what we'd had the 2 years of knowledge on him now, he didn't seem like he was trying to breed a lot in the deer herd. Just seemed like, not a coal buck by any means, but, one that was probably worth taking out.
Yep.
He would have been a 4.5-year-old, so, most people as a 4.5-year-old deer would decide that's a good age to shoot him.
Yep.
So I think Caden had several encounters with him. Then the portion of the farm that I hunt, I'd never seen the deer on hoof. I'd get some pictures of them. So it was a lot. We all had a ton of trail camera pictures of him through the 15
So he was staying
season.
around.
Yeah, he was staying kind of on the perimeter of the property and kind of bouncing back and forth around a little bit. But
All right. Well, don't let me forget. I want to know what you think kept him around. If it wasn't does, was it food plots? Was it
Yes.
agriculture?
Yep.
Or what is it that was keeping him in that area?
I think what we have on the edge of our property is we have a good timber base to it that we try to do a lot of TSI and then I've put in quite a few food plots on the ground, so he's had
So
some.
when you say TSI, what are you referring
So we're
to?
doing a lot of timber stand improvement. We're doing
Okay.
hinge cutting trees, creating a lot of bedding, doing a lot of undergrowth work, trying to get the new vegetation growing up through the timber. Doing basically anything we can to improve that timber for not only the timber's health, but also to benefit the deer habitat within that timber where they're going to live.
So if anyone's watching and they're thinking, boy, this guy sounds like he's somewhat knowledgeable about habitat and how to improve your habitat, Ryan has his own habitat improvement business.
Yep.
So anyhow, that's kind of where we became friends.
Yep.
Is he's been helping me because you see that thumb, it's nowhere near green. And so my food plots aren't always that good. And we have partners that we work with that they're expecting me to grow something.
Yep,
So
yep.
Ryan comes in that case. And so if anyone's looking, man, we've got some contact info
Yep.
for you and stuff like that. So, all right, go on.
So yeah, so we're going through the 2015 season, and my good buddy Caden, he was pretty disappointed a couple times because this was a deer that he was really after, and it kind of felt, purposely like it was his deer. He was the one that had all the pictures of him, and actually encountered him a bunch. So
Don't we all do that?
yeah. So going into the 2016 season, it was pretty much just no holds bar. Whoever can get a chance to this deer, we're taking it. And I honestly can't remember if Caden had any direct interactions with him when he was bow hunting that year. But this deer, from what I gathered after I had killed this deer, that he just turned into this super popular deer. There was more people that I knew, or that I didn't know, that knew about this deer because he was becoming extremely visible along roadways, and I think he wanted to show off and let people know that he was alive.
Well, he knew that those celebrities you talked about had seen it.
Yeah,
And he was
yeah,
going to make it on TV.
yeah.
So
He-
he's going to start doing a bunch of breeding.
Yeah, exactly.
Check me out, ladies.
He was wanting the camera on him. So going into 2016 season, I didn't have a lot of luck bow hunting. I did take he ended up being the oldest deer I've ever killed off the farm. He was 7.5 years old.
This was prior
to this deer.
Gotcha.
Yep. So go through. It was a corn crop that year on the south edge of our farm, and typically there's a couple draws that run through it, and it creates a lot of bedding for the deer in there. And he had transitioned from the big timber that we thought he'd be bedding in to about the last weekend of shotgun season. This wicked just starts every night about 2 o'clock. We had some good high pressure afternoons. Every weekend about 2 o'clock, he was 200 yards off a pretty public road, just for everybody seeing.
Not a good place for a
Yeah,
deer.
and especially towards the end of shotgun season. And me and Caden and my good buddy Keaton, we were all talking about it. It's like, this deer is going to get killed. I mean, he's just out there for everybody to see. But where he was actually staying, he was out on the ridge of this field, I believe, to where he could see everything. You know, he could see everybody no matter where they're coming.
See trucks coming.
Yeah, and we all had a couple blinds positioned around the field, and we were trying to strategize, how are we going to sneak in on this deer? Because where we think he's bedding, no matter what wind you're hunting, he's
gonna know you're
he's
coming.
going to see you're coming in. So leading up to the night that I actually killed this deer, I wanted to wait for him to come down from where I thought he was bedding. So I had positioned myself on the road just to scout and see where he was moving. I got off work a little early that afternoon, and I just started glassing the field, just waiting. And finally he came out, and I wanted to give it about a half hour and want to see where he was going. He wasn't real quick to get up off his bed. It was a pretty calm afternoon. Some does were out feeding. It was about 3 o'clock, I think.
Now, what time of year is this? Right?
This would have been December 27th, 2016. So he came up out of his bed, and I waited a little bit. Said, well, I'll give it a half hour. He kind of went down over this ridge. I pretty well know right where he's going to be. Should be able to sneak into him from this area. I have my muzzleloader with me. If I can get within 150 yards of this deer, I'll be happy. I just got ready to move from my glassing spot, and I see a pickup pull into the field where he was. And it was private ground. I myself was the only one, and my two friends that were the only ones to hunt it. So I went down there, drove back into the field. That when I was right behind this truck about 200 yards. And when he hit the ridge, went down over the ridge, there was probably 50 to 60 deer out in this field. So all the deer just scattered.
And you're probably thinking, that's it.
Yeah. I
mean,
thought that was my shot, and that, this deer's not going to be back down here for probably, unless we get a super big weather movement, he's probably not going to be back down here for another 5 or 6 days. So I went down, I confronted the trespasser, had a conversation with him, and then, I decided, well, I still had 45 minutes, an hour left of daylight, shooting light. So I decided to go up on the timber we talked about a little bit earlier. The farmer up there had stacked big alfalfa bales, big rounds, alfalfa bales. He'd stacked them 2 on the bottom and 1 on top. And we've used that spot overlooking the whole deer farm.
Kind of using it as a homemade blind.
Yeah, well, that, and we use it a lot in the summer as a glassing spot. We get to watch deer in the summer and everything. So it's like, well, I know that's a good spot. If I can get up there to pull into the entrance, get up there and see at least maybe where all the deer had gone to. Maybe they're going to come back out somewhere before last light to get to see where they go. And I'll try to put a plan together for the next couple days. So I get up there, and I decided I was taking off all my hunting clothes. I was literally just in a hunting jacket and jeans, threw my muck boots back on, and I had a doe tag with me. I was like, well, maybe a doe will come out.
Right.
And so I'm sitting, if you think how bales sit, 2 and 1, I was sitting on would have been the south edge of these bales, and to the north edge of me was the timber, and out over this big pasture, and which eventually led back down to the cornfield. So I'm sitting on these bales, and it's probably 30 minutes for legal shooting light ends, and this young group of deer, bachelor bucks, start coming out. I mean, the 1.5, 2.5-year-old deer, and they start moving out, and I think what they were doing is they were coming up and eating on these big alfalfa round
The
bales.
ones you're sitting against?
Yeah, the one
Okay,
I'm sitting
I got
on,
you.
because they're walking right up the edge on the other side of the bales, and then they just kind of circle out. They knew something wasn't quite right, but they couldn't see me because I positioned myself kind of in between 2 of the bales, but they just knew something wasn't quite right. And no kidding, I just so happened to look back and see if there's anything else coming out of the timber, and all I can see is his right side coming up out of the timber. So in the process of 30 minutes, he had come about 400 or 500 yards, made a huge circle back into the timber to work his way back out. And I'm watching him, and he's not coming out the same path that the younger bucks came out. He eventually comes right up to the edge of the bales, and he's walking along the edge of the bales. Then I'm on the other side of him.
So he's coming right at you.
He's walking right to me, and I'm sitting there kind of nervous. I was like, there's no, he's going to bust me. I mean, I'm downwind of him. It's like a 7-mile-an-hour north wind, but he's still going to bust me.
So
And-
here you got the deer of I don't know if he's of a lifetime as
Right.
far as big, but that unique.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
a deer that's going to make your heart pound.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care where you live.
Yeah.
That's a cool deer.
I mean, I'm within 10, 15 foot of this deer. And, so I'm trying to put a plan together, and he's not just nonchalantly walking. I mean, he's, kind of moving.
He's coming to your bale.
Yeah, exactly. And so right when he gets to the second to last bale, he kind of just starts to loop out just a little bit. And I was like, all right, well, he's at 10 yards, 5 yards maybe. And I had the gun, I actually had my muzzleloader positioned on top of the bale. So as slowly as I could, I just picked the muzzleloader up off the top of the bale and positioned in my shoulder, and I had to turn the scope all the way back. And
Oh, yeah.
you think about shooting a 3x9 scope, which isn't a lot, but at 10 yards.
He has nothing but a brown blob.
Yeah, so I could just barely make out his front shoulder, and the biggest error I made in picking up the gun to rest it against me was I never looked to see where the end of the barrel was. And if you think of how big a big round is, and you're on one side, the barrel was positioned what I thought was directly on top.
But it actually probably went.
It was sitting right about an inch below the ridge of the bale. And so when I finally got him, I bleated at him just to get him to stop walking. And when I pulled the trigger, it was just an explosion of grass. And I immediately called myself every name in the book, because I thought there was no way that
you hit him.
That I hit him.
Even at 10 yards.
Yeah, just the bullet would have just got thrown completely off course in the grass. So I gave it about 30 seconds. Of course, I was just shaking terrible, and I called one of my good friends, Caden. I said, well, here's the deal. Here's what happened. I'm going to just walk back to the truck. I don't know if I hit him. I never saw him after it, 'cause it's a pretty steep drop-off in the pasture. I said, I want you to come look for him with me. And he got out there, and we kind of looked at where he was when I shot, where I told him it was. And we looked for 30 seconds. He'd fallen off in a ravine, and it was somehow a perfect shot right through the lungs and hit a little bit of the heart. I couldn't believe it. But.
So the luck was on your side.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't happen to very many people.
No, there's no way you couldn't do it twice.
Yeah.
It was pure luck. But
Luckily, maybe they had eaten enough on the bale that it wasn't that tight,
Yeah.
to stop it, I guess.
I don't know. It was nuts. But definitely probably the most, hopefully not the biggest deer I ever killed, but definitely one of the most memorable and craziest story, because a couple of people I told, they're like, no way you shot through a top of a bale and hit him.
So
but,
Wicked was killed by shooting through a bale. Don't try that at
Yeah,
home,
don't.
folks, okay? That's just not good. Okay?
Not an ethical shot by any means. No way did I intend
Well, I think it was
for
just
it
a
that
mistake,
way. Yeah, it
you
was.
know?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just the adrenaline going through you. You don't even think to check where the end of your barrel is.
At 10 yards.
Yeah.
You think about it when you're, trying to shoot through a fence or something like that. You're looking, okay, am I going to
Yep.
clear it? Or something like that. But I agree. At 10 yards, you're looking through a scope and you're thinking it's clear.
Yep.
And then you don't see that it's sitting
Yeah.
on the bale.
Oh, it was just nuts. And then followed up, I ended up taking him to the Iowa Deer Classic, because I felt he was actually worthy of taking him. I wanted to enter him in the non-typical category, which I ended up getting second in the non-typical category on. But I think it was the next summer, it would have been about May or June, I get a call from this guy. And I didn't recognize him. He said he kind of knew who I was. And I answered the phone and talked to him a little bit. He's like, well, I think I have a broke-off antler from that deer. He's like, if you can prove it's your deer, So I invited him over. And he's like, no, that's him. I'll go get it out of my pickup. And I asked him, I said, just curious. And this was from the year prior. This is from 2015. I said, just curious, where did you find that? And he said, well, it was about a mile, not to give specific direction, it was about a mile west of where I would have shot him from. And I said, I suppose he broke it off in the rut, and, deer run a lot in the
Right.
rut, but we didn't think he was that much.
Traveling that much,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And he said he found it in a waterway when he was out shed hunting, and he thought it, the sportsman thing to do, if you find a good set of sheds to a
We've
deer.
done that.
Yep.
We've had some guys kill deer, the deer that we thought we were going to
Yep,
kill, that,
yep.
we're like, that's our deer, and then we've given them the sheds,
Yep.
and then we've actually had people that have done the same for us, I
Absolutely.
mean, it's just
It's cool to get the history of that
Absolutely,
deer.
and then you start to learn. It's funny though how you don't learn until after someone kills it.
Yeah.
You know, because everyone's pretty tight-lipped.
And yeah, and to follow up with the farmer that lives right across from me, which I live right next to our hunting ground, he asked if I'd seen that. The next year, he asked if I'd seen this crazy rack deer around, and I said, "Well, I think I know the one you're talking about, actually."
He's hanging on my wall.
Yeah, and he's like, and I got to talking to him a little bit. He said, "You would not believe. I used to go check my horses every day, every morning, and I would see that deer every morning. He'd be out laying along the fence by where up through one of the horse trails up to where they feed." He said it was just kind of this tuft of grass, and every morning he'd kind of get up, see it was me, and then he just nonchalantly walk back into his little section of the timber.
But you know, I mean, for those of you that haven't experienced that, these deer get used to the same routine. They recognize a truck, they'll recognize a four-wheeler, they'll recognize you in camouflage and I think Warren and I had probably one of the greatest encounters that I learned from was a turkey deal. We walked up to a guy's house and the guy asked me, "Why are you guys all dressed in camo?" And there's two turkeys strutting in his driveway, you know, and he's got a pink polo shirt on and all this. And sure enough, Warren and I come back, you know, we're going to go hunt him out, and he's got some pasture ground and stuff like that. We're sneaking around in camo. Those turkeys are nowhere to be seen, but they'll walk right by a person because they're not a threat. They're not a predator at that time.
And I've got deer, I mean, same as most rural or, you know, suburban areas. I have deer in my front yard daily and in my backyard daily, and it's just...
So how many points? I mean, I'm holding right here. There's what, 7 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, there's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points on just this piece. And there's, I can see 2 or 3 more.
Yeah, so on
longer
the
ones.
right side, the year I heard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And he actually broke off what I call the turkey foot. He had this up until I think about the middle of October.
Right,
So
and
he might have been a little more aggressive than what he thought we
So this was a turkey foot, but then it kind of just grew wider when he got to be that old. But then he put on this thing that wasn't there, or at least it's not on here, and maybe that's where he broke off. And then you said this side was pretty much always like that.
Yeah, this side, it always had this little drop time, but these times never really grew. This 2014, it was almost literally just this that grew out of the base of his antler, just flat and straight out.
Do you know what?
Could you pull him off for a second, Dad?
Yeah.
And, or Ryan, or more.
I think I'm gonna let Ryan pull him off there before because I don't want to drop him. Although if I broke his left side, it wouldn't be that big a deal, right? I mean, it's kind of already.
I think the left side's cool.
I agree. I mean, I love stuff like so. Most
him to just slowly turn him to my right. Yeah, look at all that junk. You can't see it when he's on the.
Most people do. I don't know how many of them saw that I missed a deer very similar to that this year. Shot right over top of his back.
Okay, he was cool, but he's not close to
No,
that.
well, he has 3 drop tines, but he's
And
more
then
like
show
this
that,
side.
Show that left side with that antler like grows
Here,
backwards.
I can
it's
hold it like
crazy
that.
to me. And what did you say that the right side scored?
I believe the right side when he got measured at the deer classic was 96 and a half or 96 and a quarter, somewhere right in there. But yeah, 2014, I mean, it was literally just, if you were to take this part right here and just put it right on top of his base, that was like all that grew. And then 2015, he finally started growing this, and that's when this side really, the right side really started exploding.
Did you happen to think about, and I don't mean this in a gross way or anything like that, but did you check his testicles when you guys to see if both of them had dropped?
No, I honestly didn't. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
no.
because I've seen that happen too, where they'll grow.
To
But
the right one more time. Dad.
which way?
Turn to my right again.
You got him.
Yep.
But I definitely think you did say though once you did kill him that he has a big knot on his
his
left side. I mean,
his back right knee was
back right.
Immobile. He could not bend his knee at all. It was
You know,
just solid.
I mean, you would think that this could have come from the injury, but it's probably this.
Normally, from what I've read, is it always affects the back,
Opposite
the
side.
opposite, yeah, the
Absolutely.
opposite. So, I mean, if he hadn't have got injured, it'd been crazy to think what he would have possibly been like.
It could have been a 200-inch
Yeah,
kind of deer.
absolutely. So,
Yeah, if this is 96, I can do that kind of math. So 96 and 96 is 192, isn't it, without any spread added to that? So
yeah,
is he there?
I think so.
All right, I don't want to drop him. That is a cool deer, man. I mean, that
what-
is.
And
Like,
it's kind of funny, an inside joke that me and my buddies have is my two good friends that hunt with me is we actually have another deer that has the same injury, but he's not near as crazy. He's a basic. I think would have been a basic 8-point, but he's got similar rack to this, but he's got nothing crazy like this on the one side. And we actually named him Lieutenant Dan. So.
Dan, that's wrong.
Because he got the same leg injury.
From what was that? Forrest Gump.
Yep, Forrest Gump. Yep.
I gotcha. All right. Well, I mean, but I don't want. I got a couple other things, and then we'll take some questions. I know people have been sending in questions, and they'll have some things that they want to know, and we'll talk a little bit more. But are we ready to give away a few things? Can I do that now?
Sure. Mark Coleman says, I hope David does not get hair envy. Ryan is rocking it.
Yeah, we have. You never know what people are. They might have a beard. I mean, I don't know if that's a full-on mullet, but I mean, I had one for a long time, so I appreciate that, Mark.
He also had a scary mustache.
Yeah, I did, but you know, what
I
the
thought
heck?
about cutting it into a mustache tonight,
Just to be different.
Yeah, but
All right.
couldn't do it.
All right, so we're going to give away some stuff. All right, so we're talking to this camera, they're telling me. All right. Let's see. Do we want to ask a question to have them win, or do we just want to give it away to whoever you guys tell me is, you tell me how you want to do it?
That's up to you. You
All
have
right.
to have shared it, or you're just giving that stuff away?
I'm going to give away I'm going to give two different people something, so.
Well, that's up to you then.
All right, so someone's going to win a set of broadheads, and the other person's going to win a signed copy of one of our raised hunting books.
The broadheads you had to share though, right?
Broadhead you had to share the post for, so they're going to tell me who that one is.
Yep.
All right, so when Warren tells me who that one is, but the book I'm going to give to the person, and maybe we'll just go the first one that can tell me what year did Ryan first start seeing Wicked. And I know he said it, so I know it's in there. So they're all like trying to go back through their stuff so that they can win something for free. And don't forget, if you become a Raised Outdoors member, you'll be in for winning a Lowdown Viewer, and we're going to be giving the stuff away every month, and there's more stuff to come. Lots more. And thank you to all of our partners, such as NAP and Lowdown, for giving us this stuff, because, you know, and I don't know if we've talked about it, and maybe we should just talk about it in general. Why are we doing these legendary lives? And that is because we believe that hunting needs a good PR movement. And so that's what we want to do. And as much as we love to talk about our hunts and stuff like that, it's a whole lot more fun to interact with people, whether they're from Iowa. We got people now scheduled already that are coming from Ohio and several other states that are coming to bring their deer so that they can share it with everyone. And so that maybe we make the news this time without making the news
Yeah.
because someone did something illegal or something
Yep.
bad for hunting.
Yep.
So we're big advocates on, we want to see guys like yourself and guys that are out there hunting, and gals and kids. We want to see them killing deer and turkeys and elk or whatever it is, and we want to hear those stories.
Well, and the biggest thing too is get youth involved.
Absolutely.
I mean, I try to take 2 kids hunting every year. I'm part of one program where we actually get to take, to me, I feel like it's something special to me, is we get to take underprivileged kids hunting. Every September, take them out for youth hunting. And I took a kid 2 years ago, got to shoot his first deer, ended up being a little forked buck. And,
He didn't care, I guarantee.
No, he didn't. And when we had him killed within the first 5 minutes of legal shooting light over some standing beans, and I actually drew that kid again this year, and he was so excited to get to go again, because it's an opportunity that a lot of
Absolutely.
kids don't get to do. And
So how's that work? So what is it through?
the program that I work through is called the Student Outdoor Experience. It's a
Okay. And
group-
then you just get it, how, if somebody wanted to be a part of this and take a kid, what would they do?
They can contact through me if they wanted to help get signed up for it.
So just shoot us an email or whatever, and we'll get a hold of Ryan for you. Now, does this run through the state, though, or?
This is run out of a group of guys out of Kentucky, and what they do is they travel the country, and they just sponsor these youth hunts. And
That's
I
awesome.
got asked to do it 2 years ago as my first year, and I fell in love with it, just because I didn't start hunting personally till I was deer hunting actively till I was 14. I went on my first pheasant hunt when I think I was 12. But for a lot of these kids, I grew up same as you guys did. That's hunting squirrels with BB guns and
Yep.
stuff. But a lot of these kids that don't have the greatest home life growing up, and that unfortunately the kid that I took had lost his dad to cancer, and he never got to have that father figure to take him hunting. So, not saying I'm the father figure by any means, but he was so, I mean, he was in tears when he got to kill that deer, and that was
bet.
a special moment. That it's just little things like that to get youth involved in it and to keep the sport growing, because we're losing numbers drastically for deer hunters.
For those of you that don't
Or just
know,
any
it
hunters.
is going the wrong
Yep.
way, and so we definitely need programs like that. We
Yep.
need folks like yourself. I can tell you right now, the state of Iowa is doing a tremendous job, the DNR trying
Mm-hmm.
to work on that, but at the same time, what it's ultimately gonna come down to is you and I.
Yep.
And that is taking time to take, if all of us just took one person hunting, if we could add one more hunter, we would double our numbers, and that would put us back into
Yeah.
the millions that where we used to be. We used to be at 14 million guys, and we're now well below 10. We're losing hunters, and I agree with you. So, man, my hat's off to you. Maybe that is, I do believe that a lot of times God will help those people that He knows are helping others, you
Yep,
know. And I'm not
absolutely.
saying that you earn it, but I'm saying that He looks on, you know,
Absolutely.
you gave up some time of hunting, and then all of a sudden something like this, whether you did it before or after,
Right.
doesn't matter.
Right.
Ryan, could
Absolutely.
you give me their name one more time, and I'm gonna type it in here, and, all
So-
you guys, what they're doing, that's awesome. Go like their page,
So the group I work with would be called the Student Outdoor Experience.
Student
Outdoor experience.
Outdoor. There, I just tagged it, so tell everybody to make sure they go
Yep,
like
so
that page.
Student Outdoor Experience, you guys go like their page, but you can also send us a private message if you're interested in getting involved. We'll see if Ryan can get us some more contact info, and maybe that could be either way, whether you have a kid or someone that would like to go hunting, or you want to help volunteer.
And even if you're a hunter and you don't have your own private ground, I mean, there's thousands of acre of public ground. A lot of them just go on the public ground and have success with it. So.
And that's the thing is like what we talk, we do raised at full draw where we teach these kids hunting. We don't actually take them on a hunt,
Right.
although we've taken a few. We can't take them all.
Yep.
But my point is that they don't care whether they're going to kill a deer like this.
Yep.
They don't care whether it's a forked horn. They don't care if it's a doe. They don't even care sometimes whether it's a deer.
Yeah.
They just want to go. And a lot of them, they don't even know that they want to go. So it's, I mean, they've never gotten to do it, you know, and I think it's funny because my boys were raised, that's hence the name Raised Hunting.
Yep.
Okay, they were raised in the outdoors. And I was raised in the outdoors, but not anywhere near to the ability of what we've done with them. I've lived in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
You know, places that I hunted a lot
Yep.
of times. Then I would get out of a tree and the one I tell everyone because it's true. I had a 40-acre chunk. I could get out of the tree and walk over and get a cup of coffee at 7-Eleven.
Oh, yeah.
And the best indicator that deer were coming was the cars would all hit their brakes, and I knew they're
Hear
coming
the
across the
horns,
road.
yeah.
Now I also learned a really grave mistake. If there's a traffic jam, don't bother hunting, because the road is packed with cars. They couldn't get back
Yep.
into my timber.
Yep.
And so, I mean, that sounds crazy, but that's the kind of place where I grew up. I didn't get the opportunity that, so I get it, man. And
Yeah.
that is, again, why we're doing what we're doing. And I applaud you, man, because we need more people doing
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. All right, so did someone answer the right year, Warren?
I didn't even hear the question,
Your
so.
winner for the broadheads is Ryan Wilson.
Ryan Wilson, you are getting a set of broadheads. We need you to message us private message us your address and stuff so we can send that to you. And then did someone answer the book? For the book, they needed to know what year did Ryan first have an encounter with Wicked?
We had 14,
That,
14,
who's the first
13,
one?
15.
Wasn't it
13.
14?
It was 14. Yeah.
2014. Who's the first one that said 2014?
Tom Buckroyd.
Tom Buckroyd, you have just earned yourself a signed copy of the Raised Hunting book. I hope you enjoy it. So same thing, message us directly so we can get your stuff.
And both of those guys are always loyal and on here. And
Good
so
deal.
we appreciate it. Craig was on here, and so was Joe.
Awesome, guys that we,
Antler King booth.
yep.
So they all said hi.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, we went live the other day. We met these guys. We've known them through social media, but
Yeah.
we actually met them at ATA. And we did a little piece because so many people out there know what we're doing, know who we are, and we don't recognize everyone. It's social media. You can't see everybody. And here we were, and these guys weren't going to say hi. You know, they wanted to so bad, you know, and say, hey, how's it going?
Craig
And
did.
they were going
Craig
to
came right up.
Yeah, well, but they were like, I don't want to bother you, you know, and so I just want to go out there again and tell everyone, man, if you see us, You know, now I will tell you two things. One, I put the pants on in my family, but Karen tells me which ones, okay? So that's how that works. But I still put my pants on one leg at a time, just like you guys. And Warren's got time, I got time, you know, provided we're not sitting in a deer stand somewhere. If you see us out and about, we love to say hi, you know, and we love to talk stories and stuff like that. Granted, we still work for a living doing this, so we don't have all the time in the world, but more than happy to spend time and share those experiences with everyone and say hi. So never think that we're trying to avoid anybody. We're not. Any other thing I want to talk about, because I mean, there's just so much injury. We talked about taking 2-3 years really to kill him by the time, you know, and make sure that you know where the end of your barrel is at before you pull the trigger. And then for those of you out there that are thinking, man, this is cool, I'd like to be a part of this, contact us, shoot us a message. And I can tell you, we did this last week, and last week was the first time that we kind of said, hey, we'll take entries, or however you want to put it, you know, if you got a story you want to tell. And it went crazy. Warren's booked out now. We're not booked up. We're going to have about 30 of these by the time we're going to end on, I think it's August, what did I say, 9th?
11th.
August 11th.
We're almost booked through February, so make sure that if you want to get in on them and do it somewhat soon, make sure you let us know now.
Well, a couple things is, remember, we're going to be doing these all through August, from now to August, so it doesn't matter when you get a hold of us, or we can schedule this way out. You do have to be able to come to our offices where we're going to do these. And then the other one is, we do have prizes we'll have a shirt for you and stuff like that to give you just for coming. But it's just a cool deal, and we're happy to do it. And we've also got people now asking, hey, can we come over and hang out with you guys when you're doing this? So we may actually start having a few live events where we'll actually have a full-on audience here.
No, I'm ecstatic you guys asked me or invited me to come in. It was just an awesome experience to be a part of it.
No, we sure appreciate it, man. Well, thank you again. Congratulations on the deer of a lifetime. Wicked will now be housed on the on the Raised Outdoors app, and people will be able to listen to, you know, how you killed him and what it took and that kind of stuff. So, Ryan, buddy, appreciate you, my friend. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so don't forget, join that Raised Outdoors app to win the Lowdown Viewer. We're going to send this stuff to these guys, and
It's going to be the 28th.
the 28th, this will be on January 28th. We're going to draw for this, for the Raised Outdoor guys. So if you have,
Two things.
what's that? Must be a Raised Outdoor member, so make sure you go join now so that you get that. And the thing is, here's what's crazy. If you join Raised Outdoors, I figured it out one time, we're charging people 17 cents a day. Come on, you pay more than that for coffee. It's 17 cents a day. If someone wins this, they just paid for this is probably, I'm not positive on the price, but like $175 is what it normally costs. You can buy one on our app for, I don't know how much the discount is.
15% off, you get like a free HDMI cord, a free SD card.
15% off, free HDMI cord. There's all kinds of stuff. That's part of the reason the app is so cool. But the other thing is whoever wins this just paid for the app for 3 years, basically. I mean, you can't ask for any. That's what we did. We said we're going to do it as cheap as we possibly can, so that it makes it worth it. And I can't tell you. I mean, we know of a guy that sent in and said, I bought $900 and some worth of trail cameras, and saved $900.
Oh, yeah.
On it. I mean, because
Karen.
what's that?
Karen.
Yeah, no, it was another guy. Close to though, but yeah, we actually use our own app to buy stuff. So.
Yeah, only when we're accused of stealing it, apparently.
Yep.
I think we were all guilty.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Karen accused us of actually taking stuff and giving it away, or using the stuff that she had for giveaways. So we had to go in and buy trail cameras from the app.
I know, you guys gave me a crap ton of trail cameras this year. I had a whole new fleet.
Yeah, we had to replenish her giveaway stuff. So, all right, anything else that we need to cover here, fellas?
I don't think so. We had a couple people asking if we're going to be doing them at the Deer Classic again, and if we'll be there.
We are going to be at the Deer Classic this year. I don't know that we're gonna. They kind of gave us some grief about tying up. I mean, a lot of people like to tell their story, and we'd like to do it. I don't know. I'll have to talk to the guys that run the Iowa Deer Classic and see if maybe there's a better place where we're not in the way. We created a major traffic jam with all you folks that wanted to be a part of it, and that ain't a bad thing, right? We're hunters' numbers, you know. So But at the same time, we have to respect those guys. They do try to run a good show, and there's other vendors and stuff. So we're going to be there. We haven't decided yet on whether we're going to be doing the Legendary Lives there. And we're going to be in Harrisburg. We considered trying to do it there, but we think it's just a little too difficult to haul everything and do everything there. We might do something similar. We might do a little something there. So stay in touch. We'll let you know about what's going to happen in Harrisburg. But other than that, we're going to get out of here because the one thing about Legendary Lives is we feed you guys, which I'm starving right now, so I'm ready to get something to eat. Dakin over there I can see he's starting to wilt away.